Alright, day 2 on the BMW hardtop convertible. I'm trying to get these rear windows to work. Without that, everything's immobilized. The convertible top module back here doesn't know where the windows are, so we have to get these working first, at least bidirectionally, and then go from there. So on the wiring diagram, remember they are controlled by this junction box, which piggybacks off of the main fuse box here. And what I noticed was I was taking the cover off, and what is going on here? Why is it clicking when I do that? Something's messed up. It should not be clicking. Let me hold it up and try to activate the windows bidirectionally. Holy crap, so messing with the junction box set a whole bunch of codes. Message error, junction box, sporadic fault. So I think we have to check these terminals at the junction box, because the whole car goes nuts when I wiggle the wires here. It goes on and off, and something's really not right. So you heard something click there, but the rear windows didn't go up or down. So I think it's trying. It tried to activate the windows, and now it says convertible top error. So we have to get these rear windows to work. Alright, so here's a silly junction box. It has two connectors on the front. Those are small wires. And then it has two connectors on the back. One is part of the fuse box, so the junction box slides into that. And one of these connectors is has these fat wires. Those go to the power windows. So there's a relay in here that controls the power windows. We could try to take it apart, see if that works, or see if the contacts are okay on the board. I think it slides out. And then we'll spray deoxit and see if these pins are making good contact. If these have been unplugged and plugged in 100 times, the terminals might be getting spread. Alright, so here's the junction box. It just pops out of its housing. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 relays, and I'm sure one of them is for the power windows. We're just looking at the back to see if we can spot any cracked solder joints. You know, the big ones that carry a lot of current. They all look fine to the naked eye. So let me just get some deoxit. We'll spray the female terminals, plug this thing back in, see if it still clicks, or see what happens. Alright, so we have two current codes: JBE power window relay opening, driver's side rear. JBE power window relay open, rear passenger side. So it's a very specific code. Power window relay opening on both the driver and the passenger side. We have current codes. However, you can't just look up the codes in ALLDATA because BMW. So let's take another look at the wiring diagram and see how these codes could be set. So I found an interesting TSB here. Rear windows inoperative after junction box replacement. So this JBE has been replaced or swapped. I tried both the one that was obviously in the car and the one that was brought together with the car in a box, and they act the same way. But it says one or both of the rear windows are intermittently inoperative after the vehicle has had the junction box JBE replaced for any reason. No relevant fault codes are stored. Situation does not affect cars that still have the factory installed JBE. Cause a software error in JBE. Procedure is program using ISTA-P. So, can we do this with the Launch X431? We can try. Alright, so here's the big launch, and I went into programming, by VIN, and we have factory data status, current data status, and target data status. It looks like the target is before the factory, so if we hit next, program, okay, here's the gateway module right here, SGM, ZGM. So if we hit that, let's do automatic programming. Now this is the spare JBE, so let me take some pictures. Let's just try programming the aftermarket, or not the aftermarket, the spare JBE. Download files. So you have to be connected to the internet. Okay. Yep, we're at 13.5 volts with the Tornado 90,000. Turn off ignition switch, wait for 10 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we're on. Program update. It's the exact same number. So, I don't know if this is going to do anything. I kind of think it won't, but the TSB says reprogram it. Alright, so total time says 9 minutes 41 seconds. Let's see if it goes through. It's 4:55 right now. Come on. Alright, flash completed. Do you want to code immediately? Sure. Recoding, please wait. Recoding has been completed. Okay, so let's back out of here. Turn the key off. Wait 10 seconds. And we'll jump in with the scanner and see if the bidirectional controls work or not. I have my doubts. Alright, so there are a bunch of fault codes stored in history. Let's clear out all the DTCs. Okay, now actuation test. Close rear drivers. Has been activated, absolutely no activity. Close rear passenger. So that did not help as kind of as expected. So are the windows locked out because of the convertible top not being closed, or is the convertible top locked out because it doesn't know where the windows are? This is a pain in the butt. We can try reflashing the convertible top module too. Well, this is interesting. Program update, it would actually flash it to a newer number. Maybe that'll help. Well, this one's going a lot faster, only a minute 30 total. For some reason the fuel pump kicked on, and I don't know what the convertible top has to do with the fuel pump, but we're just going to wait it out, see what happens here. Alright, flash completed. Do you want to code? Yes, please. Recoding, please wait. Coding has been completed. And that's it. We're still flashing red. So we're going to turn off the key. Back it up. Turn the key back on. Let's try it. Smart detection. See if there are any codes set. Again, the engine computer is fussing from the programming. Convertible top never sets any codes. None of the buttons still work. Clear all DTCs. I'm sure this won't help. No relay clicking at all. Fault guidance. No fault code, of course. Convertible top module. We try to bidirectionally control it. Activation finished. That's just trunk. So in data stream for sensors and switches, the rear module here, it's not closed, so maybe that's the next thing we should chase, is this rear module closed. Alright, so Microswitch left hand interlocking ring buckle closed. I managed to switch that to yes by using this hook and pulling right here until this piston was retracted all the way, and then that flipped this Microswitch. Now it says yes, so we could do the same thing on the other side, and then the last thing we have to do is find the hall sensor for the rear lid. So that closes all the way, and then the roof will be in a fully closed state. Then we'll see if the windows come back to life. Alright, so on this side I also removed the trim panels. Actually pretty easy, just one screw. And now let's pull this piston. You can see it's extended a little bit. Let's pull it back and get the Microswitch to trip. So on the data list, this Microswitch should switch from no to yes. So I'm just going to pull right here. There we go. Yes, got that. Now, button's still flashing. Now I have to figure out this hall sensor for the rear module. I have to find it. Let's look at service information. Alright, so I see one Hall sensor right here. See that metal tab next to the sensor? That could be a different one. That could be the almost closed sensor. We need the fully closed sensor, so we have to do research to find out exactly where it lives. So one way to find out which sensor is which is just to unplug something and see if it sets a code. So I unplugged this little plug right here, and it set two codes: right roof package stored Hall effect sensor and CTM Hall sensor rear module closed. So there's two Hall sensors on that plug. We have to figure out which one's which. Alright, so I finally figured out which switch is which. This I01207 Hall sensor rear module closed. That's the black and red and brown wire, pins 3 and 1 at connector X310. That's the one we just unplugged. How do we know that? Well, my friend Keith DeFazio, through a BMW specialist, sent me this chart which states in the fully closed position what basically the logic tree. So we're looking for rear module closed. Sensor 5.1 should be on status yes. And in all data, so many windows open. If you look right here, sensor 5.1 is I01207, which is this one right here, and the location is right there. So just following the wires up, you see there's two sensors here, and the one that we're interested in actually marked with a white paint dot. You can only see it with a mirror, and it's hiding behind this little plastic cover, and there's like a little metal spring there that's not quite over the sensor. That's why it's saying no. So let me take this plastic cover off, and we'll see what exactly has to happen for that whatever metal tab to be right in front of the sensor. Alright, this is insanity here. So there's something that's supposed to come into this little hole, push down on that metal tab. It's spring loaded, and that's supposed to trip the sensor. Or what the hell is that piece? There's another hole on this side. What's supposed to go in there? This whole contraption, this rear deck lid, goes up and down, right? Is there something here that snapped off? This is honestly ridiculous, people. This is the I think this is the almost closed, or the stowed sensor. No, that's the roof package stowed. Okay. But what's supposed to go in this hole? That's my question right now. Alright, back to live data. I have everything reconnected. I'm just going to push in this metal tab. And the one that's changing is Hall effect sensor right roof package closed. Well, that's not the one we're after. Dang it. We went by the wiring colors. Well, this doesn't make much sense to me. But what about that upper sensor? Does that... Oh my gosh. So I'm tweaking the sensor. That's the one. Rear module closed is this one. And is that bracket bent? I just did this. And now it says closed. So these screws right here, is that tweaked? Oh man. I mean, the rear module is closed, right? I think. Let me tweak it so it says closed, and then we'll see if the pump kicks on. Guys, the button stopped blinking. Look, hear that? The relays work. The front windows are working from the buttons. Holy crap! Auto down works. Auto up works. This is crazy. Auto down. Auto up. So the relays are clicking. I'm scared to try the convertible top, but we did fix the windows. This isn't blinking anymore. Holy crap. Alright, so the entire top and windows are immobilized because of this bracket. Now, what happened here? Did it kind of shift because the rubber grommets, you know, aged a little bit? It doesn't look bad, but what I'm going to do, just slightly tweak it in the vise. This is how you fix a BMW, no parts required. E93 people, hardtop convertible. So I'm just going to squeeze right here. We'll see if that corrects our issue. Maybe that much. Alright, so we reinstalled that bracket. So right now it's just barely touching that Hall sensor, but the rubber grommets prevent it from punching it too hard. So as long as the scanner says closed, we should be in good shape. Alright, so I reconnected the two wires here the correct way, and check this out. Beautiful. And auto down. So I think everything should work. Let me reconnect that, put some side panels back on, and should we try the convertible top? I mean, that was one of the customer complaints. I guess we'll be brave enough and hit that button. Alright, so before trying this convertible top, I want to take care of the airbag light that the customer said came on the trip over. We have one code, ACSM Safety Battery Terminal. What does that mean? Well, I mean, it would be nice if they listed it in the data stream, the resistance of the sensor, or is the sensor bad, but we don't have anything to do with the battery sensor. It's just a code. So, you know, maybe in fault guidance, let's try it out. Let's see what fault guidance is. This is a well, that's not going to work. So we just have the code. So let's find this safety battery terminal and measure the resistance. I think we've seen a similar problem on a 2004 5 Series where I just unplugged it, plugged it back in, the code went away. So let's just try that. So I'm going to undo the negative battery terminal so we have better access. Take that off. It's all oily. Someone's been oiling this. And there's one connector here, and there's another one right here with two wires. I assume it's going to be the 2-wire unit. It's all oily. Let me wipe that off and get that terminal off. Alright, so here's the terminal. Here's the plug that goes into the terminal. It's actually 3 wires. The red one, and there's 2 other ones that go to this blue plug. Everything's oily, so I'm going to blow this out, clean it out with deoxit. We can measure the resistance on those 2 pins and plug everything back in. See if that code just goes away. Well, across those 2, 4 mega ohms. I don't know. I don't know what the spec is. We can't look up the code. Potentially this thing could be shot. Let's see if we set a different code if we leave this little blue thing unplugged, but not much else we can do. Well, and here's why we need to do research. So, wiring diagram for airbag triggering circuits. I'm just looking for the actual, there we go, generator safety battery terminal G19A. You click on that, and this is the negative terminal. G19A is on the positive side, so we were testing the wrong component because it's, you know, BMW. You have to do your research. So let's look at that and the actual diagram for G19A. Let's find it on the diagram. Here it is. Gas generator safety battery terminal. Blue and brown wires going to here. So that resistance, I think, should be around 3 ohms. Alright, so here is our circuit. This guy right here. Let me try to unplug it. It looks like someone's been here with a pry bar or something. Let me carefully maybe try to take this cover off. I don't want to bust it. Alright, so I got the connector undone. I'm measuring the resistance across it, but it has a shorting bar, so I'm putting a third probe to lift up the shorting bar so we can measure that resistance. 2.5 ohms. So there's nothing wrong with the resistance in the actual device. Perhaps there's some pin fitment issues. Let's plug it back in and see if the code clears. Well, it's green. We got no more airbag light. I guess we could have, might have fixed it. Let's try again. No airbag light. Go in here, airbag module, continue, read fault code. Alright, so just poor contacts at these pins. We can unplug it, spray a little deoxit in there, plug it back in. So we're going to leave that alone, reassemble everything, and then try the convertible top.